Hi guys, and welcome back. My name is Sarah for those of you that have not practiced with me, and I'll be guiding you through your practice here today. So today's class is about the back. It's going to be focusing on some mobility, some strength, a bit about posture. I find personally, in my own mind, I really love working with the back within yoga because it's a place that I find I get a lot of tightness in, emotionally and physically. There's lots of things that I feel like I sometimes do a bit lazily within my posture, and it helps to remind me of that. But there's lots that I do in my everyday life as well. Hobbies such as surfing. I sit when I work. We tend to move the spine in many different ways, but not always with consciousness or awareness. So that's where I really like yoga, practicing it within the spine, because it just brings in completely different aspect, completely different thought process to how we move the spine, and how we can build strength as well, so that it feels stronger when we do other things that might challenge the back. So, with that being said, today's class, feel free to work with props, have some blocks. If you don't have blocks and stuff, get a bit creative. Some people use Tupperware, some people have big dictionaries that use stuff like that. We'll also be working with a strap today. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can always use the strap from your mat. If you don't have one of those, you can use something that creates length that goes quite wide. So it could even be a resistance band, they can be quite long. But yeah, just keeping something like that close by. Lovely. So when you're ready, come to find a comfortable seat. Doesn't matter how that seat is, it can be over the tops of the heels, it can be cross-legged, it could be sitting on a prop. And then come to place the hands maybe onto the thighs or away from the thighs. Palms can be facing down to ground, or maybe up to receive. And then come to maybe close down the eyes or take a soft gaze here. And start to tune your focus towards the breath. Not forcing or anything, not forcing or changing anything within the breath. We are just simply observing here. Just noticing the breath. Noticing the inhale and the exhale as they flow in and out of the body. And staying with this process of breath awareness, just observing the in and out, and following it with the mind. Knowing if the mind wanders, is this perfectly natural. Just gently guide it back to that inhale and the exhale. And then next, bring your awareness to where the breath is coming from within the body for you. We're not attaching any judgment, we're simply observing. So that could be maybe that you're feeling it in the chest, maybe the stomach, maybe the shoulders, maybe it comes in and out of the nostrils. You can feel it coming in and out, the heat or the coolness. And just placing your attention and your focus on that place where you feel the breath the most. Bring some visualization to the mind, seeing your breath flow in and out energetically from this space that you have placed your focus on within the body. Maybe you want to even attach a colour to that breath that's coming in and out from that centre of that space within the body. It could be any colour. Seeing it as it comes in and out. staying with this practice, guiding the mind back if it wanders. And softly coming to let go of that practice, very gently opening up the eyes, bringing your senses back into the room. Coming to bring the hands maybe down to the thighs, palms are facing down. We're going to take some little seated circles here. So by seated circles, we're basically coming forward, bringing the chest over the top of the legs. As we draw back, we're sending the spine towards the back of the room. It's just moving fluidly, however feels right for you. If the seat you're in is not giving you that space to do that, then come out of that space, that seat, and find yourself in a better variation of your seat. Just exploring here. And once you've gone one way for a few rounds, go the other way. Hands can be also away from the body. I'm just coming into the spine a little bit differently in a seat here. Even getting a little bit into the hips maybe, into the ankles as well if you're cross-legged. Lovely, and then coming to pause. Coming off of your sit bones and coming to find yourself in a wide-legged child's pose. So coming to take the knees out nice and wide and coming to walk the hands in front of you. As the hands reach as far as they can go with the hips still reaching back towards the heels, come to place the head down to the mat if it reaches. If it's floating in between the forearms, this is okay also. And allow the forearms to also melt down towards the mat. Taking a round of breath here. And then on your next breath, coming to lift the forehead if it's on the mat. Engage through the arms so the forearms lift ever so slightly. Take this right hand and thread it through that space, coming across to the left. So we're bringing that left arm in through that space of the left extended arm and left knee. So it's like almost like a thread needle variation in child's pose. And the side of the head can come back down towards the mat and the gaze can come down that right hand. And then coming to lift the forehead back off the mat as we bring that right hand back through, re-extend it. Bring the forehead back down for a round of breath. Still maintaining the activeness in the arms, the forearms are not melting down to the mat here. And then come to lift the forehead, taking this left hand and weaving it through that space between the right arm and the right knee. Come to place the side of the left forehead down towards the mat. Gaze comes down the left hand. And once again, if it doesn't quite meet, you've always got the option to bring blocks into your practice to prop your head up. And then come to lift the forehead, bring that hand back through, engaging through the fingertips, allowing the palms to still press into the mat. The forearms are engaged here. So we're still energetically drawing the hips back towards the heels as well. On your next breath, coming onto your fingertips here in your child's pose and walking the fingertips away from you a little bit more until they won't reach any further. Pushing into the fingertips. Push yourself back so that the hips are drawing back towards the heels and you're feeling a nice little stretch maybe into the armpits, into the side body here. So the arms are really engaged but the forehead is down towards the mat. Or if you want to, you can hover it. Coming to place the palms back down towards the earth. Coming to walk the hands in nice and slowly as we come up to rise. The chin is the last thing to come up. Be mindful that we're not moving too fast here. And bringing the knees back in towards one another, coming to sit over the tops of the heels. And then coming to either inviting your blocks here, or you might like to practice without blocks, but just having them close by. We're coming to melting heart pose here. So coming to find yourself kneeling. Coming to maybe walk yourself a bit towards the back of the mat. And then bring the hands down, come to find tabletop. So we're going to slowly start to walk the hands away from us, but we're still keeping the hips elevated above the knees. So as you're walking the hands away from you, carry on walking them away. We're bringing the chest down towards the mat. So coming to think melting heart. Hips as sit bones are energetically drawing up towards the sky. Either the forehead can come to the mat, or you can bring a forehead to the block. If that's you're wanting a bit more, you can always bring the hands towards the blocks, and that will help to maybe create a little bit more depth if you want more range through the shoulders, through the pits, and through the side body and chest. Just exploring with your depth and your range. And if you're looking for extra, you can always bring the chin down towards the mat, gaze comes forward. We're just going to be here for another round, another 2 rounds of breath. Allowing the chest, the heart to melt down towards the mat while the sit bones energetically draw up towards the sky. On your next breath, flowing down into the hands, very gently come to tuck the tailbone under as we come up to rise, and very slowly start to walk the hands back in towards the body, coming to find that tabletop. Once you've found yourself into tabletop, come in to tuck the toes under here. And then we're going to come to find some sunbirds. So there's a couple of variations. I'll go through the modified version to begin with. So we're coming to send the right leg back behind us. So the toes are still tucked, and then send the left arm out in front so the fingertips are towards the left top corner. Now this is one variation, so on your next breath you can keep the hand and the foot connected towards the mat, draw it into the centre and bring the knee towards the hand. Or if you're adding on, you can come to lift that leg so it's coming up to hip height, sending the arm so it's up to shoulder height, and really energetically reaching fingertips away from you. The heel is away from you as well, the back heel, toes are flexed, and then drawing everything into the centre, either maybe knee to the hand or elbow to knee, and re-extending. And then we're going to move here between these two motions. Taking any variation. On the extension, maybe the gaze comes forward as you draw it in, chin comes in towards the chest. Using the breath to guide you here. And taking 2 more rounds like so, moving with your breath. And either you can come back through centre, or you can come to bend that right knee, reach that left hand back behind you and take a hold of that right foot as you then kick the foot away from you and allow the chest to open up here. Gaze is still forward, torso is still facing forward. So we're opening up a bit through the chest, through the shoulder and through that right hip flexor. Coming to let go, not flinging the foot back, but very gently let go as you re-extend the leg back, long arm back in front, and then come to place that left hand back down, right knee back down. Coming to keep the toes tucked as we draw the hips back towards the heels, walk the hands in, and we come up to find a toe tuck here. A couple of options, you can either come to interlace the hands back behind you, draw the knuckles down towards the mat, creating straight arms, creating a slight puff of the chest and slight tilt of the tailbone, coming to find a subtle back bend. If the grip's not there for you, use the strap. You can come to take the strap behind you and maybe come to take it about hip width and still find the same level of opening. Taking a round of breath here. Then coming to find ourselves back into a tabletop. Untucking the toes for a moment and maybe padding the feet out, allowing the blood to come back into the toes after just sitting in that toe tuck. Come to tuck the toes again. And now this time you know where you might be going with your variation of sunbird, so just feel free to find your variation, coming to extend that left leg back behind you, right arm out in front. And then we're going to gather all of that energy in, drawing it into the center as we then extend out, finding that length, that engagement. So flexing the toes, drawing the heel away from us. And taking 3 more rounds like so. Finding your rhythm, your flow, your variation. On your final extension, if you're taking that option, come to bend that left knee, send that right arm back behind you, take a hold of the foot as we then kick that leg away from us, coming to find length, opening up through that right shoulder, that left hip flexor, that right chest. Coming to very softly let go of that leg with control, re-extending. Placing the right hand back down, left leg comes back to meet the right. Bring the knees into one another and then walking the hands back behind us. Coming up to rise for toe tuck. Taking that strap or going to interlace all the fingers. Maybe this time you're putting the funky finger on top as we then straighten through the arms, sending the knuckles down towards the earth. Drawing the palms into one another, allowing the chest to shine forward. Thinking kind of cow pose through the lower back here. And taking a rounded breath. And then coming to release that bind. There's a couple of, oh I sounded northern then, there's a couple, that's my mum coming out there. There's a couple of options here. You can stay in that toe tuck if that feels good for you. It can be quite a lot, it can be quite intense on the toes if you don't practice this. Or you can come to sit over the tops of the heels. So coming to grab your strap, we're going to take some shoulder flosses here. So come to find your strap and take it so that it's kind of, so bring it to shoulder width to begin with, out in front of you, and then just start to walk it a little bit further and create some real tightness. You want tightness in towards that strap. So basically we're going to be bringing this back behind us. So to begin with, find that tightness, find that grip, bring the strap above the head. Slowly start to bring it back behind you. If that feels like it's too tight through the chest, come back forward and take your grip wider. And then repeat. So come to bring it above the head, and then start to bring the strap, still creating that tension through the strap. Bring it all the way back behind you till the strap comes to the lower back. And then come back over the head, taking it to the front, stomach or hip. And then we're just moving between these two motions. And just adjusting for your needs where you feel necessary on that strap. Maybe it's not enough, maybe it's too much. Just noticing you do want some sensation, but not too much. And we're still allowing the rib cage to kind of tuck inwards here. We're not flaring the rib cage out. We want it to almost draw in and engage through the abs here in terms of drawing the rib cage towards the hip bones. So we're closing off that space almost. The movement's coming through the shoulders, through the shoulder blades, through the chest, as opposed to anywhere else in the body. And just taking 2 more rounds in your own time. Using the breath to guide you. And when you've done your final round, coming to set the strap off to one side, allowing the props to sit off to one side as well if you're going to come back to use them a little bit later. And then come to find yourself in tabletop. Take the hands a handprint ahead of the shoulders. Come to tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back for down dog. Come to maybe pedal out the feet, straightening one leg, bending the other knee. And before coming to find some stillness. So maybe there's a nice generous bend in the knees here as you send the sit bones up towards the sky, finding length through the back. Gazes towards the back of the room through the legs. And then on your next breath, coming to walk the feet towards the top of your mat, finding yourself in forward fold. That could be elbows towards the thighs, fingertips to the mat, maybe to blocks, or palms are all the way towards the mat. And you can invite in a generous bend in the knees here. We're allowing the chest to drape over the top of the thighs. Allowing the head and neck to hang heavy. Maybe you're taking hold of opposite elbows, swaying side to side for a round of breath here. Before coming to release that grip,
Firming down into the feet, into the heel, the big toe, the little toe. As we come up to rise, allow the hands to hang heavy. Chin is in towards the chest as we come up piece by piece, moving slowly. The arms then circle out beside us, coming over the top of the head.
Palms might meet. As they do, they're going to draw down through heart center. Taking a round of breath here with Anjali Mudra at the heart center. And then bring the hands beside the body for Tadasana. Coming to find a round of breath here. Bringing the hands back up towards the sky. As they do so, maybe the gaze comes with it. And we're going to take hold of the right wrist with the left hand. As we do so, we're then going to come to bring the body over towards, so we're keeping the lower body where it is, but we're coming to bring the top torso to reach over towards the left side. So we're stretching from the right hip up towards the right armpit. Taking a round of breath, maybe the gaze is up or down. Coming back through center. Coming to take hold of the left wrist with the right hand, and coming to lean over towards the right side. Really stretching that the left hand, up towards the top of the corner of the room. And coming back through center, drawing the hands back down. Coming to circle the hands back up towards the sky as the hands draw down through heart center, bend the knees, folding over the top of the thighs. Come to bring the hands to halfway lift, hands to shins for halfway lift, Then come to frame the feet, step the right foot back and then the left foot. Gently place the knees down towards the mat and then come to lower yourself all the way down. The body and the head come to meet the mat. Untuck the toes, firming into the tops of the feet. So pushing the tops of the feet in towards the mat, energetically drawing the elbows in towards the body. Come to lift the head, lift the chest for baby cobra. Gaze is still down. Lower the head, lower the chest, pushing into the hands, coming up through tabletop. Come to tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Come to maybe pedal out the feet. And then on the next breath, maybe taking a little bit of a shorter stance here. Bringing the hands in a little bit towards the body. And start to think about becoming heavy into the left hand. Start to think about getting light into the right hand, maybe even coming onto the right fingertips. And then we're going to drag that right hand over towards the left leg. So maybe it comes to the ankle, the calf, the thigh, the knee. But just coming to find a grip here with right hand to left leg. Coming to find a down dog twist. Maybe the gaze comes to the side or maybe underneath the left armpit. Taking a round of breath here. Coming back through center. Coming over to the other side, so becoming heavy in that right hand, Getting light in the left hand, coming onto the left fingertips. As we drag that hand towards the back of the mat, it comes to touch and make contact with that right leg. Coming to twist over towards the right side of the body. Maybe gaze comes under the right armpit. Coming to bring that left hand back down towards the mat. Finding a breath in down dog here. And then from your down dog, come to ripple the spine forward. Come to find yourself in plank pose. From plank pose, send the hips up and back. Weave that right hand straight over towards the left leg, finding that twist again. Placing the hand back down into down dog. Coming forward, finding plank again. Sending the hips up and back, straight away reaching that left hand back to the right leg, finding that down dog twist. Going to take that 2 more times, bringing the left hand back down, coming to find down dog, drawing yourself forward into plank. Drawing the hips up and back, right hand to left leg, down dog twist. Back to down dog, back to plank. Drawing the hips up and back, down dog, left hand to right leg, down dog twist. Coming back to down dog. Rippling forward for plank. Hips up and back for down dog. Finding down dog. Coming to find right hand to left leg, down dog twist. Coming back to down dog, rippling forward into plank. Drawing the hips up and back for down dog. Taking the left hand over to right leg for down dog twist. Coming back into down dog.
Coming to lower the heels and the knees back down towards the mat. Coming to walk the hands in towards the body. Finding that toe tuck one more time. Coming to interlace the hands back behind you or taking hold of that strap, drawing the knuckles down towards the mat. Coming to straighten through the arms, finding that subtle kind of cow pose where there's a subtle arch of the low back and we're projecting the chest forward. Coming to find a round of breath. And coming to release that bind. Coming to walk the hands back forward, finding tabletop. Keeping that tuck of the toes as you lift the hips up and back for down dog. And then slowly start to walk your hands towards the middle of the mat as we then walk our feet towards the middle of the mat. Coming to find forward fold in the middle of your mat. Coming to root down into the feet, circling the hands out and round, coming up nice and tall as the hands meet, drawing them down through heart center. And coming to bend slightly into the knees, just like a little micro bend, as if you've got like a chair that you want to sit in but you're not quite going to sit in it just yet. And then bring the hands so that they're cactus in beside the body, so that we're drawing the shoulder blades back, elbows are drawing down towards the mat, really stretching the fingers away from each other, finding that engagement. And then we're sending the chest slightly forward, sending the sit bones towards the back of the room one more time. And then on your next breath, as you draw the chin in towards the chest, still keeping that bend in the knee, we're sending the hands towards the front of the room, interlace the fingers, chin towards the chest, thinking kind of cat pose, sending the spine towards the back of the room. And then we're moving between these two motions, so releasing the grip, opening up into cactus, maybe the gaze comes up this time. Coming to draw the chin in towards the chest, send the hands back towards the front of the mat, interlace the hands, really separating the shoulder blades from one another here. And then moving here, just take in 2 more rounds. Knees are still bent. And then when you come back into cactus, the last cactus, come to straighten the legs, bring the hands up towards the sky, palms might meet, draw them down through heart center, and come to find yourself into Tadasana. Come to walk towards the top of the mat. And then bring the hands up above the head as the palms might meet, draw them down through heart center, come to bend over the tops of the knees, folding over the top of the thighs. Bring the hands towards the shins, halfway lift, straightening through the legs, sending the sit bones towards the back of the mat. Gaze is down, creating length through the neck here. Come in to frame the feet, step the right foot back, then lower the right knee, untuck the right toes, and then coming up to rise for low lunge. Bring the hands up towards the sky. Just explore here with the tuck of the tailbone, just feeling what feels right for you, either tucking or untucking, for your alignment here. And then we're going to move here between the same motion we just did as standing. So come to find those cactus arms, gaze comes up. And then as we come to release that cactus, come forward, bring the hands towards one another, interlace, chin towards chest. Opening up into cactus. And then coming to interlace the hands, chin towards chest. Taking that one more time. Beautiful. Bringing the hands up towards the sky and then coming to frame that left foot, tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee. Come to protract through the upper back as you create space between that left thigh and the chest as we step the left foot back. Either come to lower the knees or here in plank, come to lower the hips down, toes are still tucked, chin comes through as we come to bring the gaze forward for floating up dog. If you've lowered the knees, come towards the mat and come to find baby cobra. On your next breath, drawing the chin in towards the chest, drawing the hips up and back, finding down dog. Taking a round of breath. And on your next breath, come to extend that right leg back behind you, finding 3-legged dog, pointing the toes away from you and come to pulse the leg up and down. Finding the leg coming up, down, up, down, up, down. Then bend the knee, open the hip, sending the right heel towards the left glute. Maybe taking some little circles up here. And coming to re-extend that leg back behind you, finding three-legged dog, bringing the foot back down to meet the other foot, finding down dog. Taking a round of breath. And then from your three-legged dog, come to re-extend that right leg back behind you again. Bend the knee, bring the knee towards the chest, step the foot through. Come to lower the left knee down, untuck the left toes. Finding yourself in low lunge, coming up to rise. Hands are above the head or maybe at heart center. Just once again, exploring with that tuck of the tailbone, under or untucked, and just notice what feels good for your alignment here. And then coming to find that cactus, drawing the elbows down towards the mat, chest comes forward, shoulder blades are drawing towards one another. Drawing the chin in towards the chest, reach the hands forward, interlace the fingers, finding that kind of version of cat. We're just moving between these two motions, finding your rhythm, your flow. Taking one more round. And bringing the hands back up towards the ceiling, come to frame that right foot, untuck the right left toes, lift the back left knee, think cat dome through that upper back to create space through that right thigh and that chest as we step the foot back. Either coming to lower the knees down towards the mat, or from your plank, come to lower the hips, keep the toes tucked, engage through the quads, through the glutes as the chest comes forward for floating up dog. If you're on the knees, come to lower all the way down towards the mat, finding baby cobra. And we're all going to meet in down dog. Taking a round of breath here. Come to extend that left leg back behind you for three-legged dog. Pointing the toes away from you, come to pulse the leg up and down. And then come to bend through that knee, sending the left heel towards the right glute, finding scorpion, maybe taking some little hip circles out here. And come to re-extend that leg back behind you, turn the full body to face the mat as the left foot comes back down to meet the right foot for down dog. Beautiful. On your next breath, rippling forward, coming to find plank, either coming to lower down on towards the knees, all of us, as we walk our hands in towards the body and come to find ourselves in kneeling. So you might like to have your blocks close by here. We're going to practice some sweeping camels. So come to tuck the toes under to begin with, or maybe you're untucking the toes. Just we'll take a couple of rounds of exploration and you can see what works best for you. So come to reach the hands up towards the sky. So hands come up towards the sky. Start to think about scooting that, tucking that tailbone under so you start to feel the glutes kind of turn on a bit. So we're creating a flat front here through the pelvis. And then on your next breath, come to bring that left hand back behind you. If it doesn't touch the heel, that's the left heel, that's okay. It can come to touch the left hip. And then coming back through center, taking that right hand to right heel or right hip. And we're just going to move here between these two motions. And then you can add on, you can start to bring the hips towards the heels as you reach the left hand to left heel. Send the hips back up as you come over towards the right side. And just move like this, potentially just exploring between coming backwards and forwards. So coming up on the right and down on the left. And then alternating that. So this time we're coming to bring the hips down on towards the right heel, coming to bring the hips down towards the heel, as the hand is on the right hand on the right heel, and then lift the hips up as we come to place the left hand to left heel. So just exploring between these two motions, moving with your breath. And then coming to sit over the tops of the heels, untuck the toes for a moment,
And just come to find a round of breath. And then our next exploration is going to be lean backs. So with lean backs, once again, you might like some props close by. So we're going to come to either tuck the toes or untuck the toes, whatever works for your stability. So there's a good way to come out of these if they don't feel comfortable for you as well. So I'll go through that. But to begin with, think about, once again, turning on the glutes. So come to tuck the tailbone under, create this flat kind of aspect across the front of the pelvis. Don't worry about the hips bone over the knees necessarily. We just want to create some flatness over this surface, and it helps to turn this on. So, beautiful. So you can either bring the hands out in front of you, or the hands can come towards the hips. So what we're going to be doing here is we want the chest to be open, so we want to draw the shoulders to the back of the mat, keep that squeeze, keep that tuck, as we then come to lean back. So you remember that movie with that music video of Michael Jackson where he was doing those lean backs? Just imagine you're him in that video. It gets a bit quaddy, gets a bit quad burly, I'm not going to lie. So a good way to fall out of this, if it doesn't feel good for you, you feel like you can't come back up because you've gone too far, just sit back up on the heels. Just allow the hips to fall to the heels. Or the alternative is that you come to practice fingertips on towards the blocks, and you come to lean back, and the blocks can be your prop to help bring you back. But that's where we're going. So you can tuck the toes, you can untuck the toes, but come to find that setup, come to find your variation with blocks, without blocks, and then come to tuck the tailbone under, find that flatness through the front of the body, come to feel that openness through the chest, drawing the shoulder blades back towards the room, either hands on hips, hands to heart center, or hands overhead. Finding that sense of engagement for the legs as we come to lean back. Coming back up. And we're going to take that 3 more times. So leaning back, coming back up. You might notice each lean back that you do that you can go a little bit further. Come back up. Just 2 more rounds. 1 more round. Beautiful. And then come to sit over the tops of the heels. We're going to take that 1 more time. So you know we're going a little bit more with that now. So yeah, and just maybe bring some awareness to the quads, to how they might be feeling here. There might be some sensation, there might not. Beautiful. Great work, guys. Coming back, so toes tucked, toes untucked, using blocks, maybe you're not using blocks. Start to cultivate that tuck of the tailbone, start to think about flattening through the front of the body here. Start to think about opening through the chest, allowing the heart to shine forward, maybe the hands towards the hips or they're out ahead of you. Finding that squeeze of the glutes as you come to lean back. Coming back up, maintaining that engagement the whole time. Taking another round. And we're going to go 3 more times. 2 more times. Trying to move very mindfully and with control. 1 more time. Lovely. And then coming to sit over the tops of the heels again. And then when you're ready, coming to remove any props off of the mat and finding ourselves all the way down, so we're laying prone. So we're laying face down on towards the mat. Maybe the hands make a little pillow for the head to begin with, as we just bring the head down to the hands. Maybe you bend the knees and just take a couple little windshield wipers, reverse windshield wipers through the legs there to release through the back. And then we're going to move through locust next. So come to place the forehead down towards the mat. Send the hands back behind you so that the palms are facing towards the body and they're hovering off the mat. Bring the toes together or the legs to touch as much as they can, and then on your next breath start to think about turning on the glutes. Start to maybe squeeze the legs together, draw the shoulder blades down the back of the body as you come to lift the head, lift the chest, lift the legs. The more you point and stretch the fingertips and toes away from you, the more it might help you find that lift and engagement. Coming back down, maybe creating that little pillow for the head, rebounding through bending the knees and crisscrossing the legs over one another. Taking that 1 more time.
bringing the hands beside the body, forehead towards the mat. Hands are hovering beside the body, toes are together or legs are together as much as possible. Think about switching on the body, stretching the fingertips and toes away from the front of the mat as we come to, on the next breath, lift the head, lift the chest, lift the legs. Using the breath to help you here. And then coming back down, creating that little pillow for the head, taking those reverse windshield wipers. And then coming to turn to bring yourself so that you're on your back. So flipping yourself over. And then allow the feet to come to the wide edges of the mat. Allow the knees to knock into one another here. Hands can just rest alongside the body. And just coming to find a moment of restorative pose here. And tuning into the breath. Maybe coming back to where you notice the breath in the body at the beginning of your practice. Is it still in the same place now, or has it moved? Being curious with your practice, with your body. And walking the feet back underneath the knees. I'm going to extend the legs and we're going to roll back over to the other side. So I'm going to lay back down. So we're going to explore with a variation of bow here. If you don't want to explore that, feel free to practice a couple more rounds of locust. Or any other exploration you might be liking today. But we're going to come to work on an active bow to begin with, and then a passive bow. So, come to bring your forehead, your chest, all the way down to the mat. Come to reach the hands back behind you, sending the fingertips to the back of the room, palms are facing the body or thereabouts. And then on your next breath, come to bend through your knees. Come to flex the feet so that the toes are flexed, you're feeling that the heels are turned on, and you might start to already notice a sense of engagement in the legs. So think about pressing your pubic bone in towards the mat, and then come to hover the arms so that they're hovering beside the body. On your next breath, come to lift the forehead and lift the chest. So this is one variation. And coming back down, still keeping the arms where they are, the legs where they are. Start to bring that sense of engagement in again, pushing the pubic bone in towards the mat. As you come to lift the head, lift the chest, lift the arms, maybe you lift the legs and they hover very slightly. It might be just a centimetre. Maybe you point the toes to see if they can help with a lift a bit more. And then bringing it all back down, taking that moment of rebound again like we did in locust. Maybe taking those windshield wipers. Beautiful. So we're going to take bow again, but this time we're going to take a more passive. If you're enjoying the active, stay working with the active. But yeah, come along for any exploration that's feeling good for you today. Let's bring the forehead back down. Come to stretch the hands to reach towards the back of the mat. Come to bend the knees and come to flex the feet. On your next breath, as you come to lift the head, lift the chest, reach the hands back to take hold of the ankles, and then energetically reach the feet away from you. So send the toes towards the back of the room, and you'll notice that will help find that lift. So we're looking at coming onto the pelvis, onto the pubic bone more than rolling forward. So keeping the shoulder blades drawing into one another, drawing the knees into one another. Allowing the gaze to come forward. Maybe squeezing the glutes, allowing the knees to hover a little bit more. And then coming to relax back down towards the earth, letting go and just coming to make a little pillow for your head, taking those windshield wipers. And then coming to either come up or just roll over. So we're going to find ourselves onto our backs.
Extending the legs long, arms are beside the body. And then on your next breath, come to draw the right knee in towards the chest. Interlace the hands around the front of the shin, just to help to draw the leg in a little bit closer towards the body. Taking hold of the right knee with the left hand, send the right arm out towards the right side as we scoot the hips over towards the right side and bring the right knee over the left body for a supine spinal twist. We're maintaining the upper back towards the mat still. Gaze can be up or it can be down the left hand. Maybe you're taking movement in and out here, or maybe you're finding some stillness. Taking another round of breath. And before drawing that right knee back through center, giving it a little squeeze towards the body. And extending the right leg long down the mat, keeping the hands interlaced as we then draw the left knee in towards the body, give it a little squeeze towards the chest. And taking hold of that left knee with the right hand, sending the left arm out towards the side, removing any props that might be in the way as we then scoot the hips over towards the left side and we come to bring the left knee over towards the right side. Gaze can be up or down the left hand. So once again, taking any movement or finding some stillness. So we're maintaining the upper back down towards the mat. Allowing the breath to guide you. Inhaling and exhaling, maybe to come to find a bit more depth. And then coming back through center, drawing that left knee back in. And this time coming to draw the right knee in towards the chest also, bringing both knees in towards the chest, giving the legs a little squeeze. Maybe the hands are towards the knees or towards the shins, or maybe you're wrapping forearms around the front of the legs. Maybe you're taking some rocks side to side. And then on the next breath, a couple of options here. We're coming to find waterfall. So you can, if you're at home, take your legs up the wall if that feels good for you, or you can just bring your legs up into mid-air. Allow them to be quite heavy here. We're not trying to find any engagement, so allow the ankles, the knees to be soft, the hips to be soft. And then maybe you're either heaving the hands beside the body, or maybe they're coming up into the air also. Coming to find waterfall. And once again, the elbows, the wrists, the hands, fingertips can all be soft here. And then on the next round of breath, coming to bring the hands down, the arms down, the feet and the legs down, extending the legs long, coming to find your final resting pose, your Shavasana. So that could be that you are coming to lay in traditional Shavasana, or maybe you're finding yourself laying on the side, maybe you're coming up to find a seat, or maybe you're staying with legs up the wall if you took that option. And just adding on any extra layers to stay cozy and warm. To close down the eyes or take a soft gaze if that is there for you today. And start to tune your focus inwards towards the breath. Once again, bringing that awareness to where the breath is within the body. Observing the breath as it flows in and out. Maybe on that observation you're attaching a colour to the breath as it comes in and out again. And visualising a colour of your inhale and exhale. Maybe the colours are different as they inhale and exhale. Noticing maybe if the colours are different from the beginning of your practice to the end of your practice. I'm not attaching any judgment, we're just simply observing. Maybe there's no colour at all. to find some stillness when you're ready. Coming to settle in, allowing the points, the contact of the body to be held by the foundations beneath you. And when it's time to be guided out, I will let you know. Until then, Shavasana. Slowly start to bring your awareness back to the body, back to this space. You can either feel free to stay where you are and extend your Shavasana if it's calling to you. If you're ready to finish your practice, come to find some subtle movements through the body. And still maintaining that soft gaze or a close of the eyes will all come up to meet a seat when you are ready. There is no rush, coming to take your time. And drawing the hands towards heart center for Anjali Mudra, drawing the thumbs in towards the sternum, coming to bring the chin in towards the chest. And I invite you here today to maybe close off your practice for something this week that you are grateful for so far. It could be something very small, it could be something that you just springs to mind. There's no thought, no effort. Deepest gratitude to each of you for practicing here this evening and cultivate this evening. Sorry, it could be morning, it could be whenever. And for cultivating this space for yourself here today, and for allowing me to guide you. From my heart to yours, thank you ever so much. I hope you have a great day or a great evening, whatever time of day it is for you. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on the mat again, guys. Thank you. Bye.